Alright everybody, welcome back once again. I'm Fabio Mezzagori and this is the financial market preview. If this is your first time you are joining me, well, thank you so much for doing that. And this video is meant to be a quick recap of all the highlights that happened in the market in this previous week, along with what could happen in the market in the upcoming week in regards to technical indication. If you like the idea of this video, this is enough for you to click the like button for me, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are keen to receive this information moving forward once a week. And let me just roll in the intro and disclaimer, and I'll see you right back in just a second. Alright guys, welcome back once again. So let's just start kicking off this video just talking about a little bit of what happened in the market in this previous week, just a quick highlights of what happened. On Monday we had the Bank of Japan matching market speculation by pledging to buy a limited amount of bonds, removing its previous target of 80 trillion per year. So now they will buy unlimited bonds as much as they can. Then also Monday we had the New Zealand, along also other country that eased the lockdown, at midnight on Monday. And this week we had also 12 out of 30 Dow's company reporting this week, including companies like 3M, Caterpillar, Alphabet, Microsoft, Facebook, and also other different, big guns in the US. On Tuesday, we had the large oil fund ETF in the US, which is USO, such as US Oil Company, decided to further shift its holding into later dated contract to counteract their risk. So, considering what happened at the end of May, such as the price of crude oil dropped below zero, they, rather than keep their major holding in the front months, such as June, they decided to spread their holding across different months, across several months in the future. So in order for them to reduce, if something like what happened in May will happen again, spreading their contract across several different months will help them to spread out their risk. On Wednesday, we had Fitch, which downgraded Italy's credit rating to BBB-, such as one notch above junk, and this helped to increase the spread between German and Italian bonds. And on Thursday, we had Gilead CEO says remdesivir, which is the antiviral for the coronavirus, was ready to be shipped, but this was still experimental. However, the market took this information quite positively. Indeed, you saw all the index rally a little bit after this comment. And on Friday, we had OPEC Plus production cut starting, and they were agreed to cut about 10 million barrels per day. However, the market was discounted already this information because it was already out since the last 3 to 4 weeks. Now, all those information are done and done, so I'm done with this recap of what happened the previous week. Let's move on to talk about what could happen in this upcoming week, which is a little bit more interesting. Let me start just sharing with you the screen. Alright, so let's start to talk about the S&P 500. On a daily basis, as you can see, we are creating new higher high and new higher low every time, so technically we are in an uptrend. If we drop down on a lower time frame, such as on a 60-minute, actually let's start to talk about the 4-hour chart. So we are creating new higher high every time, as you can see a little bit clearer on a 4-hour chart. Now we start to pull back into previous structure, and around this area right here, let me draw this for you so you can see a little bit clearly. We had several tests in the same area. As you can see, we had a test right here, we hold here, and again, and along with 2800 even, just slightly shy of previous structure. So this could be an interesting area considering the overall bias for looking for a buy entry. Also, if we drop down to a lower time frame in the same area, such as around 2800, we also have a potential advanced pattern in the forms of the cipher pattern. Let me draw it for you so you can see it clearly. We've got X to A, B to C, and CD completion at 786 from X to C, which is right around 28 even handle as well. So there are several confluences lining up in the same area. So if there will be some kind of potential buying opportunity down here, this is gonna be an interesting area for looking, to push this market up once again. Moving on to another market such as Nasdaq this time. As you can see, once again, as was in the S&P 500, we are in an uptrend. We just taken out previous resistance, okay, along with previous support. So in the same area, we've got a structure swap, what is called structure swap, and we are now start to pulling back once again on the daily. If we drop down a couple of time frames, this time we're gonna move on the 60. As you can see, this line here is previous structure resistance, and in the same area, let me draw it for you so you can see maybe a little bit clearer. We had an head and shoulder pattern, okay, in the same area after having touched previous resistance along with 9,000 even handle. We start to pull back once again, and we created this what is called head and shoulder formation. We have our left shoulder right here, we have our head up here, and we also have our right shoulder here. All right, so now we are in a decision-making area, if you like, because we have our neckline around this area right here. So this could be an interesting situation, and for waiting and see what could happen. If this level holds, then we can look for a buying opportunity right back again to 9,000, or if this level will be broken through the downside, what I'm gonna be looking for is a pullback into previous structure potential support around this area right here, and try to ride this market down around this area here, okay? Moving on to the gold market instead, let me start sharing with you a monthly chart. Usually I'm not using the monthly or weekly charts, however, you can see clearly on a monthly. So let me just start drawing a couple of rectangular area right here. And as you can see, we had 1800, which has been tested multiple times in the past in 2011, and the same level has been touched a couple of weeks ago. So now if we are dropping down to the daily, as you can see, we found a little bit of resistance just shy of 1800, and we are now finding support back once again in area 1700 this time. Okay, so this is from a daily, however, is not really clear here. However, if we drop down another time frame and we move on to the 4-hour time frame, as you can see, we are in an uptrend. Let me just do a little bit thicker so you can clearly see better. We've got our uptrend, all right, and now we have a kind of pennant, if you like, if you want to call it pennant. And usually from a technical standpoint, after the 5 touch of the same area, such as of this pennant, we've got our first, second, third, fourth, and fifth one a little bit shy. Usually we see a breakthrough one of the two direction, and generally speaking, from the textbook, if you like, usually the pennant will break at the same in the same direction as the trend. If this will happen this time as well, this pattern should break it once again into the upward direction. If this will happen, what I'm gonna be looking for is, after the break, is a kind of pullback into previous potential support in order to ride this market back once again in area 1800 or previous structure resistance, and see what could happen right around this area right here, when and if it will be tested. So moving on to crude oil, as you can see, we start to seeing a little bit of buying pressure in the last 2-3 days, and we are now approaching our previous structure potential resistance in area 2164. If we drop down a time frame and we go on a 4-hour time frame, you can see a little bit clearer that we had this kind of double bottom, if you want to call it like that, and we now already broke through previous structure resistance. We pulled back into once again and hold as a support, and we are now heading back up again into 2164 area and see what could happen. On the 4-hour time frame, if you like, you from this point right here in area 2679, you draw your fib. As you can see, we have a potential butt pattern ending in area 2447. 886 is the completion of the butt pattern. The stop loss is gonna be in this area right here above our X point. Depends on how you want to trade this pattern. However, before going there, we have our previous structure potential resistance. So it would be interesting to see what could happen around this area right here. If we drop down another time frame, as you can see even clearer. We are now in a potential wedge or pennant, call it as you wish. If we have a break through the upside and a pullback into the area before touching our previous potential resistance, I'm gonna be looking to buy this market in area, let's say 24-ish, in order to ride this market back up into 2164 during this upcoming week. This is what could happen in crude oil. Moving on to the Forex market, the euro. As you can see, I left actually my support and resistance lines because they are really interesting. We are approaching once again area 110, which has been tested many times in the past, as you can see here. We are finding indeed also this week, actually Friday, a little bit of resistance in the same area. So if we drop down a couple of time frame, let me start with the 240. As you can see clearly, we are in a consolidation area between 108 and 110. If you can see this bar right here, which happened on Thursday afternoon, late afternoon, along with this potential buying pressure I can see on the chart, if we have a breakthrough, break and close above this area of 110, it means that there could be an interesting buying pressure in order for this market to go about 112-ish, short of 112-ish, okay? What I'm gonna be looking for in this market in the upcoming week is a break and close above previous structure resistance that for the time being is holding, and a pullback into the same area, and I'm gonna be looking for some kind of entry reason, buying entry reason, in order for this market to ride this market up to the previous structure potential here. All right. Moving on to another currency pair, we've got Aussie dollar that is in an uptrend on a daily. As you can see here, we are creating new higher high and higher low every single time, and we are now start to pull back into the previous potential support area, which goes from here down to here. So if we drop down a time frame, let's go to the 4-hour. As you can see clearly here, we are definitely in an uptrend. We've got higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, a new higher high right here. We are now starting once again to pull back into previous potential structure support. Considering that this is a 4-hour time frame and this structure is a little bit broad, I would say, if I really need to narrow it down, I can see clearly that this area around here hold many times in the past, as you can see here, here, all right? And in the same area, we also have 64 even handle. Okay, so there are multiple confluences in the same area, And if something happened within this area right here, and I see clearly on the 240 or lower time frames as well, such as the 60 or 15 minutes or whatever it might be, in the forms of double bottom or advanced pattern or any kind of potential buying pressure, if I can see buying pressure, this would be a great opportunity within this area to look for a potential entry reason and ride this market back up once again to area, say previous structural resistance, such as this area right here, or even a little bit further in area 66 even handle. Okay? Now, moving on to our last currency pair, such as dollar yen. As you can see, we have this trend line, we have this horizontal line. If we draw this horizontal line, we can see that this area has been tested during this week on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, if you like, and at the same time has been tested many times in the past as well in the same area. Okay, don't take the line exactly, take the area. Okay, so let me draw the area actually, which is a little bit better. Has been tested, as you can see, many times in the past as well on a daily. So if we drop down one time frame and we move on to a 4-hour time frame, we can see a little bit clearer that we have a pennant, okay, right here, which has been tested once again multiple times. We had a breakthrough the upside. However, there wasn't really any buying pressure, especially considering that this pair is a yen pair. Usually after a break, if the break is real, you don't see any pullback. Usually, and generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, you see a clean break and a continuation of a potential trend. However, this wasn't the case, and we pressed down once again back into previous into the wedge, into previous consolidation. Now, with that being said, if this market won't go any higher, and now is squeezed into this wedge, that means that generally speaking, the market needs to break one way or another. We already tried to go through the upside and failed. Now potentially we can break through the downside. With that in mind, again, 10 years usually after the break, if the break is clean, you won't have any chance to get in. Okay, so or you are in or you're not in. However, I'm not really comfortable to take a trade, a breakout trade, if you like. So what I'm gonna be looking for into the upcoming week is a breakthrough the downside of this trend line and a kind of pullback into previous structure resistance, which is also held at the same level many times in the past, as you can see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So if this level, say if yen will break through this level through the downside, what I'm gonna be looking for is a pullback into the same area and try to ride this market down into this area right here. Okay. So if this will happen, this kind of movement will happen, I'm gonna be looking for some kind of selling pressure within this yellow box here, and look for an entry to sell this market down into previous structure support, which is down into this other yellow box. Now, with that being said, guys, I finished all the market across my portfolio, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please click and smash that like button for me until it turns blue. And if you won't be missed out any new episode of the financial market preview, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much once again for watching this video. This is Fabio Mezzagori, and I'll talk to you soon. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I put a lot of valuable information here on YouTube that help you to move the needle towards financial freedom or financial independence. So if you'd like me to notify you every time a new video is up, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you will not miss any new episode. And also, don't forget to smash that like button for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.